it actually turns out that ugly Christmas sweaters are a much older concept than you might think. The idea of wearing special festive sweaters for the holidays dates back to at least the Victorian era, but back then they were advertised simply as Christmas sweaters, and the designs were far more reserved.
So as you think back to those earlier times, or you think back to the 1930s or whatever, like were those sweaters ironic as well?
No, they were still considered tasteful at that point,
Interesting.
even elegant in some cases. And as the decades progressed, adults continued to favor more subtle designs, things like snowflake patterns or argyle made to look like wrapping paper. But it isn't until the 1980s that Christmas sweaters became truly tacky. Designs of previous decades had mostly stuck to one holiday icon per sweater, but designers of the 80s adopted sort of a kitchen sink approach, right? They put on candy canes, and then they threw on Christmas trees and skiing polar bears, and it all went onto the same garments. It doesn't become a joke until 10 years later in the 1990s, when American culture gets a little more jaded and movies like Dumb and Dumber start making holiday sweater jokes. But from then on, ugly Christmas sweaters became something to wear ironically, and people started competing to find the most over-the-top patterns. In fact, the growing trend pretty much wiped out the supply at thrift stores, and by the 21st century, companies were pumping out brand new, purposely tacky designs to meet the demand.